Hey, what's up guys, it's DarkArmedDuelist and today we just got an insane new Link monster. So without further ado, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell there so you can come our notification squad, and definitely check out the Patreon in the description below for all those awesome rewards. So without further ado, let's go ahead and check out this new Link monster. So first off, this card is going to release in Duelist Advance, which is really shaping up to be an insane set. Let's go ahead and check out Xylitonian Gorgon, which sounds absolutely amazing. This card's artwork right off the bat is absolutely crazy. It looks like an Orcust monster, which is awesome. And I will note this card is actually a Dark Link monster with 3 upwards arrows, which is really weird. But let's go ahead and see what it actually does. So first off, this card is a Link 3 Dark Reptile Link effect monster. I'm not sure where the reptile fits in this. It looks more like a machine to me, but it is a reptile monster, and this card has 100 attack points. That is super low attack points, so we know it's going to have a broken effect. So for this card, it actually has all 3 of its link arrows pointing upwards, which is really interesting. And this card requires 2+ effect monsters to make it, making it a generic link monster. And this card is that you cannot summon or set monsters to zones this card points to. And for the first effect, which has 3 different effects, for the first effect, monsters this card points to cannot attack, and also their effects are negated. That is actually crazy powerful to be able to summon this card and point to 3 of your opponent's monster zones, which I assume is what you're going to try and do with this card. But the really cool thing is, since this card is actually dark, you can actually use this card with Unchained Soul of Rage to be able to link away one of your opponent's monsters and then lock down basically 3 of their zones, which is really powerful. And on top of that, you can use cards like IP Masquerade to be able to link summon this card during your opponent's turn in just about any deck, which is actually insane. For the second effect, it gains attack equal to the total original attack of the monsters it points to, so this card can get absolutely massive if your opponent's already made a board and they played to either the left or the right side of the board without using the extra monster zone. You can basically just use this card almost like a one-sided skill drain that's absolutely insanely massive, especially if you hand cards to your opponent like Lava Golem. You can just make this card absolutely crazy massive on the field. It also has the ability for the other effect, for the third effect, it cannot be destroyed battle or monster effects while it points to no monsters. That's really cool, so it's very difficult for your opponent to deal with this card. So they actually have to have a monster under this card that it's actually pointing to be able to deal with it, and it's going to have the effects negated, which is really an interesting ability. This card might be the new generic card that replaces Apollousa a little bit in the TCG, but it's really good inside of Unchained, and it's going to be really good inside of different decks that actually play IP. But I definitely see this card seeing play because it's basically just a skill drain for 3 zones, and something really interesting that you could actually do if your deck was basically trying to summon this card out as quickly as possible is you could lock down your opponent with something like a Ground Collapse, locking down 2 zones, then summon this card to your side of the field and essentially establish a one-sided skill drain by just locking down 2 of the zones with like a Ground Collapse, and then having 3 of the zones locked down with like a skill drain. You could just pretty much lock down your opponent completely with this card, which is actually insane. That's a pretty cool concept about this card, and I really like the link arrows as well, pointing all to your opponent, and it's a really cool card overall, and I really like what they're doing with this because it is a dark monster, so you could technically use this in Unchained, which is really neat. I also have one other card to talk about today, and we actually have Trapaholic, and this card looks like it's a Labyrinth card, but it's actually not. I've already checked this card out a little bit. I love the artwork of it. I really wish it was a Labyrinth card because the Labyrinth archetype is so cool, but let's go ahead and see what this card actually does. This card has a very simple effect and has the ability that's a normal trap card, and you can only activate 1 with this card's name per turn, and has the only one ability that has the ability to target 1 spell and trap that you control, destroy it, then set a normal trap from your deck except another copy of this card, and it can be activated this turn while you have 3 or more traps in the graveyard, which is a pretty cool ability that this card can basically turn into any trap card that you want. And it's a really cool effect. We already have cards like Trap Trick that can basically just do pretty much the same thing as this card, but the ability to be able to activate at the same turn if you have 3 or more traps in the grave is a pretty cool ability, just to be able to instantly use that effect to get into the exact trap card that you need, especially in decks like Labyrinth, maybe even Odeon you could play this card, or even if you want a trap card in your graveyard would be really interesting, especially in like the Odeon deck that you want your trap cards in the graveyard for Treasures of the King, so you can basically do the Treasures of the King effect, which is really interesting. But this card is actually a really cool card overall, and I really like this card's effect as well. You can even use this cards that you really want in the graveyard, like copies of Ice Barrier, so you can banish it, search water monsters. You can use this card with different Labyrinth cards to be able to pop them so you can get the bounce effects. But it's a really interesting card overall, and I love the artwork of it. It just looks so cool, and I really like absolutely love the artwork of this card. I really do think it's going to see a little bit of play. I'm not sure where yet. You can even use this inside of decks like Eldritch as well to be able to pop one of your Elixirs, so you can banish it during the end phase while also getting to set a different normal trap card from your deck, which would be pretty cool. So you can get to cards like Eradicator or different stuff like that you might want to get to, and you've already set to your side of the field like a Scarlet Sanguine that you want to pop on your side of the field, so you can banish it in the graveyard and get a golden land card. So you can technically play this inside of like Eldritch, Trap Tricks. You could play it inside of Labyrinth, Odeon, different decks like that can definitely play this. Even maybe Dynamorphia, so you can get the exact card you want in the graveyard this card can be played in, which is really, really neat. But overall, really, really interesting card. But this card, the new Gorgon, gonna definitely be a staple in a lot of different decks. And I think this is gonna be a very interesting card that's gonna surprise a lot of players. So that's gonna do this one, guys. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell there so you can come our notification squad. Definitely tell me what you think of these cards down in the comments down below. I think this card is going to become a new staple extra deck monster just to lock down the field, and it's a really interesting card overall. It does seem a little bit more fair than Apollousa, where Apollousa was just a blanket 4 negates, where this card is kind of a little bit less, and your opponent gets the link arrows and you don't, which is actually really interesting. But overall, really cool card. So that's gonna do this one, guys. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell there so you can come for our notification squad, and we'll see you guys in the next video. See you later, guys.